Hey guys, it's Matt, and today we're going to be installing the sh23 shad saddlebags to my Ninja 650 today. The reason I got the sh23 saddlebags is actually they're a little bit smaller, they don't hold as much, but they're low profile. They're not really going to ruin the sporty look of the Ninja 650. And they have a 36 liter and I believe a 32 liter bag that's huge. It'll actually fit a helmet, but I just didn't want that for this bike. I wanted something nice, low profile. And the cool thing about shad and why I picked that bag over something else was they actually have what they call a 3P mounting system. Now that means 3 points of contact, and it comes with this mounting bracket. This was $220. The bags were about $220, and it's going to bolt to the peg, the fender, and it's going to relocate the turn signal actually out here so you can see it, so the bag isn't blocking the turn signal. Might actually be able to eliminate my fender also, but we'll see how it installs. This is my first time doing it, so you're going to have to work with me on this side, and we'll learn from our mistakes on the other side. Go over the tools that you need. You're going to need a screwdriver to pry off the plugs, electrical pliers with needle nose. If you don't have them in both, like this Milwaukee set, then you're going to need both. Crimpers, if you're going to use the butt connectors that come with the kit, or you could solder them, and a bunch of Allen wrenches or Allen sockets. And I'm going to be using my impact drill, Milwaukee, and but if you don't have that, simple ratchet and wrench set will do just fine. On the instructions, the first thing you do is take out these plugs. Right here, I remove the seat, and you just stick a flathead screwdriver in here, and it looks like you just pry them off just like that. Work your way around. Next thing we're going to do is replace this pin with a bolt, and what it has is this retaining clip. You can use a flathead screwdriver or a needle nose pliers to get it off. Simply, it'll just pop right out. This is how you spread apart this fender to get to the turn signals. But there's an 8mm bolt here, there's 2 Phillips screws here, and loosen up the license plate bracket. Actually take one side all the way off, and I believe you're going to spread this apart and then be able to access the turn signals. Since we're right, you take off the license plate, the 8mm bolt, and then those 2 Phillips screws there, and you could start spreading it apart. But the mount is actually preventing it from getting, and then you have Phillips screws inside of here. So I'm just going to loosen up these on the mount bracket just so I can spread it apart a little bit more. Just loosen them, not take the whole fender off. Reflector, I can just replace that. But then, as you can see, you got a Phillips screw in there, and you're going to pull it out. You might want to disconnect the electrical connectors to get you a little bit more slack before you cut that cord. I'm just going to take the entire fender off and make my own tail tidy here with a bracket, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, yeah, you can see the Phillips screws here. Take them out. Careful, don't damage these, because you're going to need them to put in the shad bracket. See, this comes off. Set that down there, and it looks like we pry this off, and then we'll be able to push this in and pull the turn signal out. Instructions say to cut the wire to the turn signal, not your license plate light. Make sure it's the right one. And the turn signal comes right out. You have to work your way out of this bracket, and then, like I said, this part will go right up to there. Like I said, you take that bracket out right there, and you just work your way around the lip, and it'll pop right out of the fender there. First thing you do after we took that pin for the peg out, you got these little bolts, and I tried to make this a little bit exploded view here. Put a washer here, washer there, and then we put the mount, another washer, and this nylock nut. We're going to tighten those up later after we get these mounted up here. Now, it says on the instructions there is a long spacer and a short spacer. The long one will go to the back, just like that. And you see these mounts here? Well, they go inside, and there's threads inside the fender there that mount to the chassis. I was worried it was just going to mount to this plastic fender. Well, it actually mount to the frame rail here. Kind of an exploded view of the mount bolt. You got the bolt, then the washer, and then the mount is going to go in between there. Got the small spacer, and you got the big spacer. Now, since this is a big spacer, that bolt's going to go in the back. Same thing in the front, except for with the small spacer. We got, like I said, we got this peg mounted loosely, and just screw these in, hand tight at first, and then we'll hit it with the impact. 10 millimeter nut, so you're going to have to search for it a little bit. And now the peg's on, we'll tighten these up. Looks like a pretty good mount. Guys, now we have it installed. We can flip the peg up or down if we want to. Got the long bracket in the back, short one in the front, and it's mounted to the chassis, extremely solid. Alright guys, now to install them, you got this little lip here, and you gotta, like I mentioned earlier, you got this retention clip here, and you'll clip the bottom one on, then the top, and you'll pull this retention clip back. And you just slap it on there, and the clip's right on, and you'll see the turn signals will be back here. Just enough room to open it up. It fits really tight on there, feels really nice. Good quality, it seems like. I wouldn't put more than 10-20 pounds in it, but I mean, it's just the right size, it's got the right look. The angles kind of go with the bike, I think. And I could upgrade to bigger ones later too. Alright, now like I said earlier, you take this little bracket out of here and you got this rubber lip. And what it'll do is it just fits right into here. You just work your way around, or you got to take this other clip out. Take this clip out, and then you stick your wire through, and you just work your way around, stick it in. And eventually that lip will pop in there, make sure it's all sealed so it stays nice and tight in there. And then what's going to happen, what you do is take this bracket, make sure it's in the right direction, and you pop it in, and it pulls that lip out to keep the turn signal in place. And then you got this retaining clip also here. Put that, and that'll keep the other clip in place. And bam, that's all you have to do to install the turn signals. They're a bitch to get out, but super easy to install. And we got to finish the wiring up here. For these wire extensions, they got butt connectors here, but I'm going to cut those off and solder those. But since these are the same color, I just pulled one wire longer and one wire shorter so you could tell which one is which. So this long wire is this short wire, this long wire is this short wire, rather than it just being like this where you can't tell. I'll teach you guys how to solder while I'm at it. You just twist each end of the wire, and then what you're going to do is you're going to kind of make a U with each of them and then twist them together. A little something like that. Make sure you put your heat shrink on there. I got this bigger heat shrink. I put it far away because when it gets hot it's going to get smaller. I'm going to slide it over both of them. What you do is you just take your soldering iron, and what you're going to do is you're going to touch your copper part of your wire, bare part of your wire to it, And what you're actually going to do is you're just going to push a little bit of pressure with the solder on there, and eventually once it heats up it's going to melt, and then you just kind of like press it along there like that, like you're brushing a painting. It's fine, and just make sure you put the solder on the actual wire itself and not just the iron. And the tip is and once you get it hot, like I said, you're just going to want to paint it on there like a brush. You're going to want to keep it hot and keep the fire going. And then if you do it right, that's what it's going to look like. You don't want it to look really gloppy. And then you put the heat shrink on there. You're going to hit that with a lighter. I ended up making a nice little aluminum tail tidy there, curved off the edges to make it nice and clean, and made it center. Put this nice license plate light bracket, which ended up fitting perfectly in there, and hide that wire a little bit. But here's with the bags on. Lift them up. That's how big they are, and to take them off, you just pull that latch and then lift up, take them right off. And that's what it looks like with the bracket.